Hi everybody, Bill McCabe once again, and you're visiting me at the tail end of an Iron Crane Dojo class in the great Pacific Northwest. We're about to enter our rainy season out here, so lighting conditions are not optimal, but we'll make do with what we have. We're going to wind up the silk reeling series of videos. In case you haven't figured this, the several videos that I've presented so far cover a vast amount of material, and if you work through all that or explore those ideas, on your own, it could easily take more than a year to 18 months to get it down pat. But there's something I want to share with you as a culmination of that whole series, which is rarely, if ever, discussed or explored, just because it gets so complicated at some point in time that very few people can even get to this level. But I just want you to know that these items are out there, so that if you choose to push yourself to the most remote edge of where you can take this, you'll have at least an arrow pointing the way of where you have to go. So assisting once again is Terry. And she's been helping us throughout the series. She's also been learning it as we've been going through it. So you've been seeing her remarkable progress over a relatively short period of time because she has great instincts. But what we have so far is what we call the natural set. And there are 8 natural sequences. And they started out, you might remember, opposite leg forward. We did the yang move. And then, with the opposite leg forward, we did the yin move. Okay. Then, we went to the same leg forward and did the yang move. And then we went same leg forward and did the yin move. Now, all of those 4 moves were on this side of the room. If we went to the opposite side, we would have the counterpart of those 4 moves, making it a total of 8 natural side moves. Now, I'm going to say some more about that in just a few minutes, but there's 8 natural moves. They're called natural moves because they're the locations in applying these energies where everyone has the highest degree of comfort. They feel natural. But if you explore within the way these flows of energies evolve, there's a set of 8 obscure moves which are rarely ever discovered or seen or appreciated, except by those who push this to the very limit. And the obscure moves go something like this. We're back to where we were a second ago. We're doing the natural move with the opposite knee forward. Okay, and I'm doing the yang side, and then she reciprocates. I do the yang side, and she reciprocates. Now watch. I change the position of my legs. Okay, this is the same energy. It's the same hand movement, but it's the obscure angle, the obscure application. Okay, why obscure? She pushes. I'm in her empty place. And the obscure area is where she comes back, I go forward, is where unusual energies reveal themselves to you. And when you go deep into the obscure areas, you'll start to find openings that you might not see in the natural areas. Part of the reason some of the natural moves feel natural is because you feel well defended while you're executing them, and you are well defended. When your opponent shifts to an obscure geometry, you feel vulnerable and less defended. Your balance doesn't feel quite right. And those are little avenues of exploration if one is going to attack a weakness in the other. Okay, so the first one, again, was opposite side, and we're in a natural position right now. And the best way to get this is to start with a natural move, and then the person who's the senior in rank switching the geometry so that now you're in the obscure move, and this is the obscure move. Even if she pushes over here with this hand and this hand, you see how she has me trapped. Okay? And what I would have to do is come up with some sort of release of that energy, which I can do, and which you can do too once you get experience. Okay? So that's the first obscure move. Now, let's say we're back in the opposite knee forward position once again, and this time I'm doing yin energy. And I come around, and then she reverses it. Around, and then she reverses it. Okay, you see what we're doing, okay? Now, I go to the obscure side, and this is the obscure side. Okay? Obscure side. Now, same as before, different kinds of energies. Okay. I come around, yin energy, obscure side. I go in. I don't give her a chance to reverse. I capture her on the fly. Again, as you develop experience with the obscure side, you develop an awareness of where to slip through the person's defenses. Okay, so those setups were on this side of the room, out of the opposite knee forward position, starting. And now we're going to go back to the natural moves, numbers 3 and 4, with the legs on the same side of the room, and I'm going to do the yang energy. And I'm coming around, in, and then she reverses, good. And then she comes in, I do yang, she reverses, in, I do the yang. Now watch. Go from here, and I switch. And now I'm going to do yang from the obscure side. Okay? So we're here, I come in, and you can see how this is a whole different way of achieving energy flow, of creating an opening. Okay, so again, we were same leg forward doing the natural movement, and I was doing yang, and she was reciprocating. And then I switched the geometry, and I'm continuing doing yang. But as soon as you switch the geometry, the whole flow changes. See, I can empty her now. And I'm just using very little energy as I do that. Okay, that's the third dynamic on this side of the room. Now we're going to go to the fourth dynamic. Our legs on the same side of the room. And I'm going to do yin energy with the natural move. Okay? Now I switch the geometry. Back to the natural move, yin energy, around, out, she reverses, and then I switch geometry. Okay, now watch. You have a sequence there of 4 obscure moves on this side of the room. You can do the same 4 moves on the other side of the room, just reverse your positions and work on the other side, making it a total of 8 obscure moves and 8 natural moves, and those 16 possibilities embrace just about any type of movement that you can conjure up. And that's the beauty of this system. Just about everything you wish to have accounted for will appear somewhere within those 16 flows. remembering, of course, that the natural flows have an essentially defensive thrust, and then the obscure moves create awarenesses of openings that may not always be readily apparent in the natural positions. And for that reason, the obscure angles should be explored when you have opportunity to do so. Okay, you need to have those awarenesses of openings and of the points in space and time relative to you and your partner when you can release energy. And you don't want to do it when they feel strong. You want to do it when they're not entirely confident in their geometry or their position. And I know this gets pretty analytical, and I'll say this to all of you, that when I move, I'm not analytical at all. It only sounds analytical because we only have a few minutes to try to explain this, and the explanation creates the analytical type of modality that we're in. There's many people that I've taught this to over a period of months where there was no analysis. I would just trust that their instincts would identify the flows when necessary, and that's what happened. They didn't even know what they were doing. They were just doing it right because it felt right at all times. Now, to give you an idea of how that works, these flows merge. So, for example, we're here in the natural position, and I'm doing yang, okay? Now watch, as we're doing this, and she's doing yang also. Okay. And she comes back, and see it? I'm switching to the obscure move here, and reversing the flows. Put your other hand. Okay, good. See it? Now she comes back, other side, obscure side, natural side. Obscure side, natural side, obscure, natural, and everything begins to combine. Watch. Watch. See how I'm controlling your hand? See it? Look. See, you develop these magical energies within yourself. Look. You see, it's the cobra, it's all these animals together that we were talking about all this time, and it's all there. And again, Terry has just been at this a few months, and you can see how skilled she has become as we've been doing these videos. And it's for that reason I wanted you all to see her and her growth within the context of what we've been doing, because these are ideas that if you explore and research, and if you take to your school and under the guidance of your instructor, try to develop some familiarity with, they produce genuine results and benefits. And what you'll have within yourself is an ability to control just about everything that's happening above the waist. And that will take you a long way down the road in a very short day as you look for personal growth in the martial arts and also in life, because when you develop these kinds of flows, they carry over into everything that you do and hopefully make you a better and more peaceful person. Stay well, do well. I'll see you all down the road. I might take a break for a week or two, but I'll be back.